Hello, my name is Julie Zero Fountain, and I would like to introduce myself as the Wellness Coordinator for the College of St. Scholastica. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about mindfulness. This presentation is a combination of different resources. I would like to give credit where credit is due. This presentation is adapted by the readings of John Kabat-Zinn, as well as other presentations that I have attended. As John Kabat-Zinn likes to say, the little things, the little moments, they aren't so little. Through this presentation today, we'll talk about taking notice of those little things. So what is mindfulness? Movies are one of the most popular and powerful mediums of entertainment available. They convey stories using visuals, music, emotion, and a host of other creative methods. We tend to learn much from the stories that we see on screen and often take away much more than is on the surface. They also help us to exist in the present moment. By watching videos, we temporarily escape reality and focus solely on the stories. This is a present moment awareness to a certain degree. The movie Inside Out, Riley is guided by her emotions: joy, fear, anger, disgust, and sadness. The emotions live in headquarters, the control center in Riley's mind, where they help advise her through her everyday life. As Riley and her emotions struggle to adjust to a new life in San Francisco, turmoil ensues in headquarters. Although joy, Riley's main and most important emotion, tries to keep things positive, the emotions conflict on how to best navigate a new city, house, and school. This movie is mindfulness personified. It characterizes what goes on in our heads from moment to moment and does a pretty amazing job of illustrating our thoughts and emotions. I find that watching this film can do wonders for your own life and mindfulness practice. Here's a brief clip so you can see what I mean.
So, how was the first day of school?
I guess. You ever look at someone and wonder what's going on inside their head?
Did you guys pick up on that?
Sure we did.
Something's wrong. We're gonna find out what's happening, but we'll need support. Signal the husband.
Uh-oh, she's looking at us. What did she say? What? Oh, sorry, sir. No one's listening. It's a conversation. We left the toilet seat up. What? What is it, woman? What?
Signal him again.
Ah, so, Riley, how was school?
For this, we gave up that Brazilian helicopter pilot.
School was great, all right?
What was that? I thought you said we were gonna act casual. Riley, is everything okay?
Sir, she just rolled her eyes at us. All right, make sure, of course. I don't have to put the foot down. No, not the foot. Riley, I do not like this new attitude. Oh, I'm so attitude. No, breathe.
What is your problem? Just leave me alone.
Sir, reporting high levels of sass. Take it to DEFCON 2. DEFCON 2. I don't know where this disrespectful attitude came from. You want peace in this spot?
Yeah? Well, look.
Prepare the foot. Chief, take the position. When it's left at your command, sir.
Just shut up!
Fire! That's it. Go to your room. Foot is down. The foot is down. Good job, gentlemen. That could have been a disaster.
Well, that was a disaster.
Come, fly with me, Gachinha.
You can see from that video that there are lots of different emotions going on all at once, and mindfulness will help us to sort through those different emotions to live a relaxing and more stress-free life, more in tune with our positive emotions and better able to control our negative emotions. And at the very end of that clip, there was another type of that was displayed, and that was mental imagery. So we'll learn a little bit about that too. Some people may be concerned about mentioning mindfulness or stress to other students. And there's not a lot of need to worry because lots of students talk about stress and mindfulness, but some need help incorporated into their lives. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Mindfulness is present throughout the world, it's in movies, and most importantly, 30 million Americans have tried to practice it regularly. In the past year alone, it has been a cover story, and this would be in 2016, of Time and Scientific America, as well as there was a 60-minute special on it. Oprah brought it up multiple times on her own network. NFL players are practicing it, and even the US Marines are doing it. It's also being integrated into schools, prisons, and practiced by politicians. So what is mindfulness? The American Mindfulness Research Association describes mindfulness as the state, process, and practice of remembering to observe moment-to-moment experiences with openness and without automatic patterns of previously conditioned thoughts, emotions, or behaviors. Mindfulness can be cultivated through mind-body practices such as focused attention and open monitoring meditation, as well as sensory-based practices that are founded on a discerning mode of awareness. It recognizes wholesome and unwholesome states of being. The concept of mindfulness received an initial wave of attention when John Kabat-Zinn, an established stress reduction clinic at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. He established this in 1979. He was also the founding executive director of the school's Center for Mindfulness in Medicine, Healthcare, and Society, established in 1995. And he remains a professor of medicine. Kabat-Zinn, who has a doctorate in molecular biology, is also internationally known for his work as a scientist, writer, and meditation teacher, and has focused his work on the research effects of MBSR, which is mindfulness-based research. It includes the relationship between the mind and the body and the clinical applications of mindfulness meditation. He wrote a book, Full Catastrophe Living, using the wisdom of your body and mind to face stress, pain, and illness. And I have this book in the Well You resource room, which is T26, if you're interested in looking this book up and reading more about mindfulness. MBSR is described as comprising 3 different techniques: a body scan, a sitting meditation, and hatha yoga practice. We will experience some of those things later on today. So what does this look in a tutoring session? How do you incorporate talking about mindfulness in a tutoring session? You can think about the student, and as they're awaiting instruction, you can begin with a breath instruction or a mindful body scan. As the wellness coordinator, I offer guided awareness instruction. So I might say, let's bring your awareness now to your breath. Pay attention to the immediate sensory experience of the breath, how it actually feels in your body. As you breathe, pay attention with acceptance. Allow for your experience just as it is, without struggle or judgment. Observe your experience with self-kindness. Another thing you can do is just start out your tutoring session with 5 deep breaths. Have the student breathe in and out. It may seem a little awkward at first, but as soon as you start experiencing the benefits of mindfulness, this is a practice that you will want to continue, and this is how you'll want to start every tutoring session. With people who are experiencing stress, I tell them that their experience of stress is a physical sensation combined with their reaction to that sensation. Only observe the sensation and separate out their physical reaction. Once they understand these different pieces that contribute to their experience, they can take control. They learn that stress and pain is a physical sensation. It is not who they are. One element of mindfulness is overcoming perceived ideas. I tell students, let go of their preconceived ideas and concepts about their body and listen to it as if it were the first time. I tell them to appreciate that each new breath is fresh and each moment is a new moment. To encourage students to accept mindfulness, it's important to use proper terminology. I've been careful to call the work behavioral-based or psychologically informed practice, because sometimes people are adverse to the term meditation because of its religious precept. It may not be seen as effective as prayer, for example, but we have to be conscious of the context we use mindfulness, because for some people, it could be helpful for them to frame it as a religious practice, and others it is not. So what gives mindfulness a bad rap is saying things like, is your body in tune with the universe? Are you thinking in harmony with the planets? Mindfulness is grown out of psychology. It is no more than thinking about what's going on. One term that's used to describe it is metacognition. So there is nothing new age about the mind being in the present moment. It's just a fact of life that we're always facing change. We might like to be comfortable, that isn't the way the world works. We need to be able to handle difficult things in life and still be happy. We've got really bright people in lots of different professions who may still think mindfulness as a fringe or complementary medicine. But there are solid neurophysiological correlates that suggest that mindfulness not only improves, calms, and relaxes, but it actually can improve cognition, executive function, and decision making. Now we're going to take a moment to complete the mindfulness attention awareness scale. Feel free to pause this video for a few minutes to complete the day-to-day experiences worksheet. You can find this online if you're watching the video not at St. Scholastica by doing a simple Google search of Mindfulness Attention Awareness Scale. Welcome back. After completing the Mindfulness Attention Awareness Scale, just keep in mind the score that you received throughout the rest of the presentation. I'd like to go over a couple of common myths about mindfulness. The first is mindfulness and meditation are one and the same. Actually, no. Mindfulness can be practiced in two ways: formally through mindfulness meditation and informally during daily events of our lives. Formal mindfulness meditation is practiced through sitting meditation, walking meditation, lying down meditation, and mindfulness yoga. This can be done for 10 to 30 minutes. Informal yoga practice is about pausing and noticing what's happening within us, around us, and as we go through the tasks of the day. We note breathing, thoughts, feelings, sensations, and surroundings. Rather than a mental checklist, we do this with gentle, non-judgmental awareness. Another myth is we need to be present in the moment at all times. It isn't a goal of mindfulness to be present in each and every moment. If we did this, we'd be overstimulated and overwhelmed. We need a dose of distraction sometimes. When we're processing strong emotions, we need a break from them. We need to allow our mind to wander. This helps us think outside the box and be creative. With mindfulness, we notice when we're distracted and what has drawn our attention away from the present moment. We consciously choose if we want to stay in that place of distraction or come back to what's happening in the present moment. Mindfulness practice helps us filter out irrelevant information so we can be more effective. The third myth is mindfulness is about deep breathing. Not quite. Rather than concentrating on the breath, which implies effort, we're simply aware that the body is breathing. There's no particular technique. We don't even need to take a deep breath. We don't have to count. We don't need a mantra. We don't change or manipulate our breathing in any way. You are just simply present. We discover that our breathing has texture. We notice how we feel with our breath. We simply allow our attention to rest wherever we feel our breathing the most gentle and mindful. While mindfulness is much more than awareness of breath, we consider this the home base. The breath is the anchor to the present moment. Another misconception is that mindfulness is about having a quiet mind. There's a little bit more to it. Many people think that you're doing something wrong because they can't clear their mind. In mindfulness meditation, we don't try to block out our thoughts. Rather, we acknowledge them parading through the mind one by one. We notice what's drawn our attention away from the present moment, and then we gently come back to our breath. The mind is constantly thinking thoughts about the future or the past. We're typically worrying, problem solving, planning, remembering, fantasizing, and playing old tapes from the past. With mindfulness meditation, we discover the thoughts that deplete our energy, put us in a bad mood, and keep us up at night. Another misconception is the goal of mindfulness meditation is to achieve a blissful state. This is not entirely accurate. In mindfulness meditation, there's no objective to achieve relaxation or some altered state of being. Mindfulness meditation involves a willingness to simply be with whatever is happening within and around us with a gentle and open mind. Another, fifth, final misconception is that the goal of mindfulness is to alter our state of being. The goal is to discover things about ourselves. And we may discover things that we are living with that aren't working. This awareness can sometimes cause us to feel anxious at first. We may bump up against our past wounds, ones that often cause us to work too much, eat too much, drink too much, and self-medicate with alcohol, tobacco, or drugs. Mindfulness requires courage to see things as they are rather than how we wish they should be. We may need to engage in therapy or counseling to heal the inner conflicts and patterns that discover and cause our suffering. The good news is that mindfulness practice helps us have the patience and compassion necessary for positive change. Now on more about those benefits of mindfulness. Mindfulness helps build healthy relationships through compassionate action for ourselves and for others. It also helps us ease into each moment, one breath at a time. And the practice is anything but passive. The Mindful Schools program has discovered many of those benefits of practicing mindfulness. The USC Davis campus conducted a large randomized control study to review the effects of mindfulness. It included 937 children and 47 teachers in 3 Oakland public elementary schools. The Mindful Schools curriculum produced statistically significant improvements on behavior versus the control group, with just 4 hours of mindfulness instruction for the students. They found increases in paying attention, calming self-control, self-care and participation, and showing care for others. One of the main reasons mindfulness is entering the mainstream more and more is because of all the research coming out on the benefits. You can see on the screen that mindfulness changes lots of different areas of the brain. It involves 6 neuropsychological processes that lead to a person's meditative state of self-awareness. You can see pro-social behavior, non-attachment and decentering, emotional regulation, intention and motivation, attention regulation, and extinction and reconsolidation. So that's the changing behaviors and attitudes. Research studies are also finding correlations between mindfulness and positivity. Parts of the brain are related to attention, sensory processing, emotion and stress regulation, and empathy and compassion are strengthened. For example, research from Dr. Richard Davidson's lab at the University of Wisconsin-Madison has shown that meditators are better able to monitor emotions and thoughts and let go of those that might cause distress. Also, at the University of North Carolina, psychologists studying mindfulness found mindfulness-trained participants showed significant improvement in their critical cognitive skills, performed slightly higher in cognitive tests than the control group after only 4 days of training for only 20 minutes a day. Mindfulness also helps you overcome fear and anger. The newest part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, gets strengthened through meditative processes. And those are the brains that are responsible for higher thinking and higher processing. The old part of the brain gets suppressed and controlled. That's the part of the brain that governs behavioral reflexes. There's also changing in neuroplasticity. So I'm going to encourage you to participate in this exercise I have coming up. Now, I can't see you, so I won't know if you're actually participating, but I hope that you do. So I'd like you all to stand up right now as you are able, and I would like you to perform one squat. So what a squat is, you stand with your feet hip distance apart and you sit down like you're sitting in a chair, and then push yourself back up through the weight of your heels. So perform two more squats. Now I'd like you to do a squat, except this time a one-legged squat. So grab a chair or something to stabilize yourself with and perform a one-legged squat. Do you notice the difference between those two exercises? Which one was a little bit easier? I'm guessing it's the two-legged squat, because that's something that we do every single day as we sit up and down on a chair. Now, the one-legged squat might not be as familiar because we haven't gone through that process as many times. It's the same thing with our brains. The brain is like a muscle that we can build through practicing skills. The more we practice meditation, the more we practice positive thinking, the easier it will be, and it will strengthen those neural circuits. Thank you for participating in that exercise. You can go ahead and have a seat. On your screen are different types of practice. So there's the body scan, the movement, breathing, expanding awareness, open awareness, walking, and mindfulness communication. This list is provided by the Greater Good Institute out of Berkeley. Now, I would recommend starting with a simple practice that we are going to begin today. So cultivating mindfulness, how do we do that? First, you practice, practice, practice. You live your life as if it really mattered, moment by moment, by moment by moment. As John Kabat-Zinn says, all we have is the moment right now. The past is in the past, the future has not occurred. You can only be where you are, and that is the current moment. Second, you pay close attention to your breathing, especially when you're feeling intense emotions. Third, you notice, and I mean really notice, what you're sensing in a given moment. You also recognize your thoughts and emotions are fleeting. Joy enters in just as quickly as it leaves. Sadness enters and leaves. All of these are not sustained. You tune into your body's physical sensations. And mindfulness is also cultivated through centered meditation. So that is a focused thought. Next, we're going to practice a little bit. So these are the kinds of tools that you can keep in mind the next time you are in your tutoring session. Make sure that you practice them a few times before the session so that you can lead your students through the exercises with confidence and ease. First, we're going to talk about the stop breath focus meditation. Now, I like this one because it's easy to remember. There's just 4 parts to it. It has the little acronym STOP. So the first letter S stands for stop and take stock. So haven't there been times where you've needed just some breathing space? This practice provides a way to step out of automatic pilot mode and into the present moment. What we are doing is creating a space to reconnect with your natural resilience and wisdom. You're simply tuning into what is happening right now without expectation of any particular result. If you remember nothing else, just remember the word stop. S, stop and take stock. checking into head, heart, body. Bring yourself into the present moment by deliberately asking, what is my experience right now? Ask yourself, what are you saying to yourself? What images are coming to mind? Think about your feelings. Are they enjoying the present moment? Are they neutral, upset, excited, mad, etc.? Think about your sensations. What physical sensations are you experiencing? Any tightness, lightness, holding on to things? Acknowledge and register your experience, even if it's uncomfortable. Next, T is for take. Take a deep breath. Then direct your awareness to your breathing. Gently direct your full attention to your breathing, to each in-breath and out-breath as they follow, one after the other. Your breath can function as an anchor to bring you into the present and help you tune into a state of awareness and stillness. Next, O, open and observe. Expanding awareness outward, expand the field of your awareness around and beyond your breathing so that it includes a sense of body as a whole, your posture, your facial expression, and then further outward to what's happening around you. Sights, sounds, smells, etc. As best you can, bring this expanded awareness into the next moments. P is for proceed and new possibilities. Continuing without expectation, let your attention now move into the world around you, sensing how things are right now rather than reacting habitually or mechanically. You can be curious and open, responding naturally. You might even be surprised by what happens next after creating this pause. The next meditation that you can go through, that's a breath-focused meditation as well, is a body scan. So you scan through all the different parts of your body, releasing the unnecessary tension. You also bring attention to the body with an attitude of friendly curiosity. This practice can last anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. How I use this practice is at night, right before I go to bed. I do a breath-focused meditation where I concentrate on the areas of tightness and releasing them. For me, it's my jaw and my shoulders and neck that get really tight throughout the day. So I focus on breathing and releasing those areas, and that helps me get a good night's sleep. Now, we'll talk a little bit about mindfulness at school and work. So think about your day. And think about how you complete each task. Are you single task oriented or multitask oriented? Chances are we all are trying to do more in less time. But really with mindfulness, it's focusing on the task at hand. Think about a single task at a time, create a relaxed focus, and it'll lead to more productivity and more joy. Another type of meditation is the specific intention meditation. On your screen is the loving kindness meditation. So that is extending feelings of compassion towards people. So you start with yourself and saying, may I be happy, may I be well. And then you extend it to loved ones, to people you feel neutral about, maybe even people you dislike or strangers. And then you extend out the loving kindness to everyone. Now, this is another example of the body scan meditation, and it reveals a way of gradually moving up your body. So this is much more specific, and it goes through each body part, and you can track your body sensations, and it grounds your attention in the present moment. So we're going to do a 5-minute meditation, and this is a meditation that I thought would be really appropriate for our students.
Welcome to the 5-minute.
5 minutes to focus on how to use our imagination. In order to reach into the depths of what our imagination can provide, I want to ask you to step into a silent space. If you have a space in your home or office where you can detach from distractions, go there now. If not, stand or sit where you are with purpose. Be comfortable with your feet firmly on the floor. Close your eyes. Take a nice, deep breath. Now, take another deep breath. Notice the coolness, purity in the air coming in. And out that breathing. Now release the breath out. Take one more focused, deep breath in and hold it. As you exhale this time, make the intention that your breath will help push away all internal and external distractions. Wonderful. Our concentration today is on our imagination. Our imagination is a gift that allows us to conceive of situations, people, circumstances that have not happened yet. We can use our imagination to our benefit or to our demise. If you have a pattern of thinking that uses imagination as a way to worry, you always seem to question why things go wrong in your life. We say things to others, such as, that's impossible. I can't do it. This always happens to me. But let's reimagine imagination. First, let's recognize that you have the gift of imagination within you. It is a wonderful gift to have, and every single person, including you, has it. And as much as it can be used for bad, it can be used so much more for good. Using your imagination means focusing only on thoughts that make you feel good, that make you whole, that make you the reflection of love that you want to give to the world. Ask yourself these questions. What makes me feel good? What makes me feel complete? How can I show love to others? Take the time to think about these questions today and allow your imagination to fill with thoughts of your desired life. Write them down and plan on how to make them happen. It is your time to take your imagination out of your head and make it a part of your everyday reality. Take it one day at a time, one idea at a time, and have fun. You can have anything you want. You can have anything you want.
Now, the next part of the presentation is going to focus on next steps. So what can you do in the future, and how can you incorporate mindfulness into your life and into your tutoring sessions? First is regular practice. So you create mindful pauses throughout your day. Take 1 to 5 minutes to practice slowing down, feeling the body, breathing more fully. Set aside 5 to 30 minutes optimally. So you want to surround yourself with support, get books, audio, phone apps to learn more and keep yourself motivated. You can also take a mind-body class. You can also work with your students to create a SMART goal. For example, I will complete a morning energy meditation for 5 minutes a day at 8 a.m. for 2 weeks. My biggest suggestion is to try it out for a couple weeks, see what you like, what you don't like. If it's not working for you, you don't have to continue the practice. But if you do notice changes, then I highly suggest setting more goals for your meditation practice and experimenting with new things. Now I'll end with sharing some WellU resources. In addition to mindfulness practice, there's lots of different things that we offer with WellU. So Student Health 101 is an online magazine that you can subscribe to. You can find that on our WellU website. We also have the WellU blog. There are bright lights in the library that help with seasonal affective disorder. And we have pet therapy this year in the spring, March 7th, April 4th, and May 2nd from 2 to 3 in science. And the Sunspot bus on Wednesdays, 11:45 a.m. to 12:45 in the Mitchell parking lot. If you have any questions or comments, you can email me. My email is on the screen. Thank you for your time and attention today, and I encourage you to begin your mindfulness practice and have conversations about other students about your mindfulness practice.